Hi everyone, my name is Michelle. I'm a senior here at Yale. I study art history and French, and I'm also a student guide at the YCBA. For my installment of the Reframed Tour series, I'm going to take you through a lesser studied aspect of our collection, our objects with Canadian subjects. Specifically, I'm going to look at prints from the 18th through 20th centuries, which depict Canada and engage with the idea of wilderness. In doing so, I'm going to consider the ways in which the connection between Canada and wilderness in British prints served British imperial narratives. To begin, I want to give a little bit of context. On the screen here, you'll see the famous painting by the Anglo-American painter Benjamin West, The Death of General Wolfe. While this painting is not in the YCBA's collection, it is a useful starting point for this discussion of British colonial depictions of Canada, as it depicts one of the key moments when Canada actually became British. I'm not as interested in the reasons this painting is important for the study of the history of art or the history of history painting, as I am in what the painting represents and what it depicts. For more information about this painting, especially in the context of the history of history paintings, I would really recommend the book What Was History Painting and What Is It Now?, which was edited by Mark Salver Phillips and Jordan Bear. And I have included this in the references slide at the end of this presentation. I really encourage you all to take a look. For our purposes, though, this image is important because it depicts the British victory on the Plains of Abraham. The Battle of the Plains of Abraham took place on September 13th, 1759, during the 7 Years' War. During the battle, which took place right outside the walls of Quebec City, both General Montcalm of the French army and General Wolfe of the British army died. Here we see Wolfe's death depicted in quite a dramatic fashion. This battle really changed the course of the 7 Years' War and, by extension, the history of North America. Although France did not actually cede the territory, which was then known as New France, to the British until 1763 with the signing of the Treaty of Paris. This moment on the Plains of Abraham really marked a turning point in the war. It represents the ascendancy of the British, especially at the expense of the French. So, in the years following this event, how did the British represent their new colony in print sources? What were they trying to achieve through these representations? Let's take a look at some of these prints from the YCBA's collection and see what the objects themselves have to say. The first print that I wanted to look at is by Richard Houston. It's from between 1761 to 1768, and it's called Major General James Wolfe, Commander-in-Chief of His Majesty's Forces on the Expedition against Quebec. And we know this is the title because it's inscribed here on the bottom of the image. So before even considering like the visual elements of this print, I would like to talk about the title for a minute. So again, the title is inscribed in the bottom, so we can say that it was contemporary to the image. It wasn't like added, in the 20th century. The phrase expedition against Quebec is really doing a lot of work here. This tells us that first and foremost, the relationship between the British and their newly acquired land was antagonistic. Wolfe was aiming to conquer the land itself, as opposed to simply conquering the French. He wasn't aiming to win a battle, he wasn't aiming to defeat an enemy, he was aiming to win against the land. And this kind of is a really good framing for our discussion because it really is a kind of fight between the wilderness and the people, as represented in these prints. So we can immediately see this connection between like British colonial expansion and land and wilderness coming to the forefront here. That said, this image doesn't really seem to be about land at first glance. We see General Wolfe pointing towards the east, standing on top of a hill in front of a nondescript body of water and a tree-covered hill. In the water behind Wolfe, really small, we have figures arriving at the shore in boats, and then we have a mass of figures climbing up the hill into the forest. The most obvious interpretation of this image is that we have General Wolfe pointing towards Canada, which of course is east of Britain, asserting his superiority through his size and presence in the composition over the land below and behind him. So in the composition, Wolf is the subject, he is superior, he is upright, he's central, he's big. Compared to everything else, Wolf really is asserting his dominance, and Houston is asserting Wolf's dominance. However, in thinking about the land specifically, there's more to this image than we might first assume. And this kind of secondary interpretation that I want to put forth has to do with more with the people in the background than it does with Wolf at the foreground. So we can see that these people are leaving the boats because this figure right here, right behind Wolf's leg on the right, is leaning into the shore. It kind of looks like he's pulling the boat from the water into the shore, like leading the group of people from the water onto the land. So we can assume that these might be British soldiers, presumably under Wolfe's command. If we assume Wolfe will be alive, this might be during the battle, before, maybe in the lead up to the battle. It probably would not be after he had won. I mean, obviously this is not like a real image, so it was made after, but we can assume that these are kind of British people moving into Canada. So these soldiers are infiltrating this back wilderness. Wolfe may be dominating the scene as a whole, but the foot soldiers are doing the actual work. They're the ones who are taming the wilderness, so to speak. This impression is furthered by the fact that there appears to be nothing existing on the land before these people. This idea is, of course, false. There were indigenous people, and then later on French settlers and settlers from other places. Americans came, so there definitely were people there, but Houston has obviously not shown us any of those people. So for all intents and purposes, this is empty land, and you have these nice British foot soldiers coming in to tame it. In this way, we have kind of a representation of pure wilderness and pure desecration. At least that's what the modern perspective would say. That's what us in 2024 can say. We understand that by depicting the wilderness in this way, by depicting the people kind of heading in to defeat it, we can say that they're committing an act of kind of desacralization. But at the time, perhaps a British citizen could have imagined himself as one of these men, adventuring into a new land for a noble cause. In this way, wilderness becomes a representation of possibility and freedom. It gives the people the impression that this land, Canada, was theirs for the taking, if only they could make it across the ocean. That thanks to Wolfe, they have the opportunity to take this empty land all for themselves. So that's what this print is doing in the imagination. It's allowing the British to imagine themselves as this mass of people entering into this new place that they've just won. Next, I want to look at this print. So this is from 1804, a little later, but still around the same time period. This is by John Taylor, and it's called General Burgoyne Addressing the Indians at Their War Feast in Canada. General Burgoyne was a British general, similar to Wolfe, although lower down in the hierarchy. So in this image, we kind of see a very traditional juxtaposition of like European and indigenous contact, where you have these British figures in their full uniforms, riding on horses, very regal, upright, and then you have indigenous people that are naked, depicted as primitive. You know, they're wearing headdresses. And this kind of contact has been really enumerated countless times in literature, on the history of art, on history, from not just Canada, from places around the world. Contact of like European and indigenous people is a pretty common subject in print culture and drawings, in exploration and literature. And so I don't really want to talk about that. But what I do want to talk about, and that's something that's really unique about this print, is the trees. So these trees, we have two kind of distinct halves of the painting, of the print. On the right, we have the General Burgoyne and his men. We have a tree with very few branches. There's light peeking through. Um, it appears to kind of be the sort of tree that one might see in Europe or in, the northeast part of North America. Um, it's not really asserting its presence. By contrast, on the left, we have the indigenous people standing in front of what looks like a palm tree. And palm trees, of course, are not native to Canada. So despite the fact this scene supposedly takes place in Canada, um, this would be kind of ahistorical, not just ahistorical, but unscientific. Why might they have done this? And I think in order to answer this question, we need to look at the differences between light and dark. So like I said before, the tree on the right, it's very light, it's not really very present, it's more just it's more kind of setting the scene. The trees on the left are dark, they're crowded together, it looks like there's a lush forest you can't see behind. In this way, it not only asserts the presence of the wilderness, but it gives the impression that the British soldiers are kind of venturing into the unknown, that they're doing something that is hard, they're doing something that is difficult, that requires bravery. And not only that, but that they're doing something that is exploratory, that is educational. They're bringing light into the darkness. They're literally going from light to dark in order to hopefully bring the light. And in thinking about that, we can see how the horse, the mode of transportation, is physically the lightest part of the painting, the part in the most highlight. Whereas, of course, the other than kind of like the edges, um, really this kind of part right here inside the tree line is where is the darkest part, other than these bottom edges, which are really more borders than part of the scene. So we can see here that the British people, they're coming into the darkness, they're bringing light into the dark. And this, of course, accords with the Enlightenment values very prevalent in Britain and Europe at the time, in the early 19th century. But in thinking about it in context of the previous print, if Houston's print allowed British people to imagine themselves taking this land, taking advantage of the spoils of victory, this print provides a justification for these acts. It's not only that we can go, but we have to, we must. It is a moral imperative. And I would now like to kind of venture a little bit afield and look at some French prints. I want to detour out of the British imagination and into the French imagination, because I think it really helps illustrate kind of the severity of these British prints and the obviousness of this narrative that they're pushing. So, although I'm focusing specifically on representations of wilderness here, it's worth noting that these prints, made by a French artist, Pierre-Charles Cano, who was active in Britain, don't depict Canada as wild. You can see that he's really taking a very, very different approach. Not only is he not depicting Canada as wild, he's depicting it as relatively settled. He's not saying this is a place that needs to be explored and that is available to anybody who can make it across the ocean and walk up a mountain. He's saying these are settlements that people have worked hard to establish, that have taken centuries. And as a French person, this that would have been true. And this was made in these were made in 1762, which of course was like immediately after this conquest. And we can imagine that in the French imagination, this is really seen as a loss. This is seen as, oh, well, our people spent centuries building up these settlements and now they're not ours anymore. And so you can see how the French would be really keen to establish their presence, especially in spite of the British trying to erase their existence. Again, in this detail shot right here, we can see that he's not only portraying it as settled, but he's also portraying it as kind of urban. These buildings are close together, they're densely packed, they're multi-story, there's active chimneys. And yeah, the mountain is there, but it portrays kind of a harmony between settlement and unsettled land. It's not that the land has never been touched, it's that this is where they've chosen to be. And really, the lack of wilderness in these images kind of highlights the presence of wilderness in the prints by Taylor and Houston. The last thing I want to look at is this print, is a very beautiful print from 1930, made by a printmaker and designer named Ernest Michael Dinkle. And it's called Visit the Empire Canada. And this was in a series of prints. There's another one that's not in the, another version that's not in the YCVA collection. That was commissioned by the Underground Electric Railways of London, which was the organization that was in charge of kind of operating the underground system. In this print, we see the underground symbol, this blue circle with the red line. So it's kind of a modification of the red circle with the blue through line of the underground symbol. Showing a map of the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, really depicting like the colonies, kind of North America, and then parts of the Pacific. So the purpose of this print was twofold. First, it was to encourage use of the tube, of the underground. It was to say that if you ride the underground, you can get to all of these places. You can go see Canada and New Zealand and Jamaica just by riding the tube without ever having to leave London. But it was also to assert that the British people had managed to bring all of these places to London, implicitly meaning that they have successfully tamed the wilderness. And of course, we can see depictions of wilderness here in that every colony gets its own little like plant and animal, and in many cases, racist caricatures of indigenous peoples. But the highlight is on the plant and animal life. And yes, that may be because they're trying to publicize Kew Gardens and the zoo and the British Museum, kind of natural anthropological things to visit. But implicit in that is saying that we have conquered the wilderness enough that we have brought it across a whole ocean, and now you can see it without ever having to leave London. And so this is really a culmination of kind of the idea of Canada as wilderness in the British imagination, where it is this wild place, but after having ruled there for 150 years, we've conquered it and we've brought it to you. You can go to the zoo and see a beaver. You don't need to go to Canada to see a beaver, you can go do it at the zoo. And looking at this print, we can see that evidently Canada is not the only place represented using wilderness in British prints to further the colonial project. It is also, of course, important to note that the small selection of objects that we've looked at today is not representative of every print made in Britain about Canada during the 18th through 20th centuries. And we also need to acknowledge the harms inflicted upon Indigenous peoples by the British Empire in Canada and around the world. Hopefully, though, by examining these prints, we can get a little bit closer to understanding the seemingly innocuous ways in which narratives of British superiority were furthered in the British imagination through popular culture, and the ways in which these narratives continue to exist into the 20th century and persist even today. Thank you, and I hope you get the chance to visit the Yale Center for British Art when it reopens after building conservation.